Hello friends, this is R.E.P.O. I'm going to go over all of the maps, including low versus high quota differences, the items you can find on each map and how they contribute to a map being good, and just the best and the worst maps. The station map. Here are all of the valuable items that you can expect to find on this map most frequently. We've got the server rack, the science station, this big ol' ice block, these items, the fan, the computer, the 6-pack of samples, the singular sample, the propane tank, complete with fire. You know what? I'm not going to break that. The laptop, 3D printer, which is pretty nice, hard drive, bonsai, ice saw, sample cooler, guitar, flamethrower, creature leg, which is another one of the big ice cubes, and the explosive barrel, and this sample. So these are fairly decent props. This one is kind of annoying for its value, the size ratio, but everything else is pretty good. Overall, I would say the items you can expect to find on this map, these plus the common items, is a pretty good layout. As for the actual map, in low quota, it's pretty good. You have the doors that have a good threshold for stunning you when you run into them. Some other maps have a very low speed threshold for stunning you when you run into them. These can still do it, but I have 10 speed right now, and I have to get a running start to stun myself. It's a pretty good threshold. The Headman Manor doors, like 2 speed is enough to stun yourself, so pretty suspicious. These doors can also be used for various things. You can make the huntsman trip in various ways due to the size of the door. You can just lay it on the ground, he'll step up on it, and then when he steps off, he'll trip, or you can lay it at an angle and he'll try to climb it, and then when he falls, he'll trip. You can use it as kind of a sticky trap against ducks, weirdly. If the ducks jump on it, and you jump on it with them and just kind of look up and down, the ducks will jump in place a bit, then they just get stuck, and you walk away and they're stuck to it. They'll rip ducks. The flamethrower is also great against ducks. This is a quite useful tool. It doesn't really stun the big guys, but it is a duck roasting machine. As for the actual map, there are a decent amount of hiding places scattered throughout. It's nowhere near as claustrophobic as the Headman Manor. This map is pretty nice at low quota, I would say. I don't think there's really any death pits you have to worry about either, so not only does this have decent size to the rooms, but the tiles, or the little chunks within the map layout, are fairly generous in terms of deep under-table systems that allow you to not get hit by, like, bite attacks. Like this, for example, you're gonna get hit by the like, down attack, right? From a robe, or a reaper, or a head, stuff like that. But if it is deep enough, like these, then you can avoid it entirely. So I would say low quota station is a fairly good setup. Headman Manor, low quota. Here are the props you can expect to find here, along with the common set of props. You've got the ship in a bottle. Pretty decent size to value ratio. Slightly fragile, but not overwhelmingly so. You have the Scream Doll, which is quite the character. Kind of annoying, but decent value. You have the gramophone. I'm pretty sure this is unique to this map currently, but you never know when they'll reuse props. The radio, I don't think I've seen this anywhere else. Pretty decent. It's a little bulky for the value. It's a little bulky. The TV, pretty good size to bulk to value ratio. The music box, a little annoying, but it's got some tricks. You can flip it upside down, like pick it up, smashing everything in the process, and you can move it around, etc. Pretty good size to value. The golden statue, this only requires, I think, 1 strength to lift fairly easily, and is good value. It is also not that big of a footprint, so pretty easy to put on the extraction with other things. The dinosaur fossil, this is like the most annoying prop in the game almost. Animal box is a close second in some layouts, where it spawns in places where you just actually can't get it out without horrible effort. Ducks trying to play the piano. This thing is insanely fragile. Like, I barely even moved it, and it took 600 damage. If I were to actually knock... That was minus 5k. Another minus 5k, so this thing is absolutely annoying. You really need the indestructible drone. Okay, Duck, you're gonna have to leave the premises. What? Okay, hold on. Duck's in the way. Duck's in the way. make him go through this wall. He pounced around to the other side of the wall. And now he doesn't know where I am. Okay. Just damaging these things slightly. Decent amount. So this is the clock. It's not that hard to move. It's fairly durable. This is a decent prop for this map. Prop valuable. I'm using them interchangeably. Piano is a little hard to move. I have 5 strength in my testing thing. I can still not lift it. So this thing is heavy. You'll need multiple people for this unless you have a super strong guy or a drone. The painting, pretty easy to put on the extract because you can put it on like a carpet. So that's something at least. It's a little annoying to carry through doorways. Now, most of this stuff on other maps would be more okay. Like, the harp is a little awkward, but you can play it. However, the doors on Heaven Manor are tiny, so you really have to work getting things through. That dinosaur fossil? Nah, like, no, it's so bad. It's possible, but it's bad. So, the props here, the valuables, kind of annoying. They're okay, but they're kind of annoying to get through the doors, because they're so tiny compared to the other maps. Like, the Wizard Academy has double doors most of the time. The station doors are also massive, and these things are tiny. Pretty annoying. The doors here also, 2 strength, or not strength, 2 sprint speed is enough to stun yourself when running into these. I have died jumping over a death pit, and then, like, barely brushing a door, and just die. Yeah, so, death pits plus door equals you die, and that's kind of suspicious. I tend to break these doors off a lot if I have time, but just be careful of that. As for the map design, pretty claustrophobic overall. The clearance of the rooms is questionable. There's tons of tiny doors that you have to, like, meander items through. Like, if you had to get a clock through this, you'd have to go here, then, like, turn it this way, then turn it this way. It's just a lot of effort. And it's pretty tough to get these things through without them taking damage. As for the hiding spots on the map on average, they're not great. Like, the hiding spots will absolutely get you obliterated by bite attacks. Like, both of these are super vulnerable to any enemy that can crouch down and swipe. So the head, the robe, the Reaper, you're just gonna die. There's, like, no safe place here. And the couches also bait new players. I died to this early on thinking you could, like, hide under it or something, but it's just too low. And it doesn't let you go down there. So you'll, like, think it's a hiding place, but it's not. So another little annoyance. This does let you in, but this is another bite risk. Like, if a head's chasing you, you go down here, he'll just chomp you. You might be able to escape out the other side at least and just cheese it, run away. But overall, low quota Headman Manor, kind of an annoying map. And your chances of running into enemies... I'm surprised by how generous this layout is. I feel a layout that's not one horrible hallway of doom is kind of uncommon. So I think in a lot of cases, expect it to be a hallway with, like, no way to get around. There actually is a way to get around on this one. But there's definitely been many times where there hasn't. And combined on a map with not great places to hide, it's not great. This is what Trudge's crouch down attack looks like if you haven't seen it. Pretty uncommonly used, as most people will just walk away. He is extremely slow. Actually kind of hurts. Low quota Swift Broom Academy. We'll start off with the props that you can expect to see here, besides the common pool of props. You have the Chomping Book. If you hit it, I believe, enough times, regardless of the damage, it will open up, start attacking. We'll hit it lightly to test that. Or is it a damage threshold? Might be a damage threshold. So this will chomp and try to kill you. Doing 5 damage a chomp. It eventually chills out. You have the Time Glass. This will slow you down, slow everything down really, your turn speed. It will slow down the rate of your voice coming out, which effectively deepens it. And if you carry this and jump off of an edge, you will even fall slower. You can somewhat move this less annoyingly if you push it, or roll it, or just put it in the cart. But otherwise, people usually like to carry this around so they can make goofy noises. The Love Potion, very fragile, but good value. It also, if you grab it, you either love the potion or you love your nearest teammate. Your eyes will also glow pink. Yes, true. It has a nice glow, and it dies nicely. The Goblin Head, this is a very usable medium prop at 0 strength for killing enemies with, so it's nice to have. The Power Crystal is effectively a bomb. It is not a medium prop, so it won't stun most enemies, but if you prime it by getting it low, and then you toss it, you can use it as a grenade. This is the stat, you know, I'll cover the staff last. Due to property damage. This is the Master Potion, or just Big Potion, whatever you want to call it. Also, a great 0 strength weapon. It's able to stun any enemy. Usually with a Wrecking Ball motion. I do have a bit of strength, so it's slightly easier to carry, but it is very carryable at 0 strength. This is also not that fragile, and is an overall nice prop. It's a little bulky, but it's nice. Now the Wizard Cube, this is a great prop. It is quite heavy, however, you can push it around and roll it into the cart. You can also use doors to make a ramp, to slide it into the cart that way if you want. You can roll it like this in certain ways to get it where you want it. You can roll it pretty violently to really make it go. The Griffin statue, extremely valuable, very hard to carry, only slightly damaged, my fault, but this is pretty valuable. It's also not very fragile. I mean, it is losing a lot, but, you know, it's also worth a lot, so percentage-wise, it's not super fragile. It's not tough either, though. It's kind of in the middle. Griffin statue's great. You probably will need a drone or a bunch of people to lift it, though. Probably, yeah. Wizard staff, worth a lot, not that hard to carry. And if you tap the crystal on the ground, you can use the clown laser beam. I assume this crystal is a clown dongle that has been crystallized, because it is the exact same beam. And if you have an indestructible drone on this, you can just tap it on the ground without any durability cost and keep beaming. This is pretty dangerous and does have force. If you drop this on accident, facing the wrong way, you can cause extreme property damage to your life and friends. There's also the sword, the Wizard Greatsword. Fairly heavy, but not super heavy. Good value. A little large, but not that large. The broom. This one is another 0-person carry for good value. If the container takes enough damage, the broom will break free and start flying away. You can grab it. If you put this in a cart or the extract pad, it will stop flying. But overall, this is also a nice prop. All of these valuables, all of these props in this map, they are just good. I think most people like this map. Let's have a look at the map layout itself. You have this pretty common room. Lots of under-table hiding places across the entire room. Very easy to avoid any enemies that might try to attack you from under tables. The doors are kind of in the middle in terms of stunning you when you walk into them at higher speeds. They're pretty easy to break off if you want to. I have a decent amount of strength here, but it's pretty easy to break them at 0 as well, especially if you use the cart or press them against the wall and just run into them like this. They will usually break. You can use these as little bridges. This is another great room for getting away from enemies. The cauldrons, of course, big feature on this map. If you bait the duck into them, you can make the duck get stunned and take damage and convert that into a kill completely. You can see here, you just kind of walk in the general area, kind of jump around, and there you go, you're boiling the duck. And he'll explode. Now when he's stunned, you just bop him a few times. He's dead. Now you have duck ball soup. The map definitely has a lot of personality, as the designers of the game are wizards, and they made this game. And this map, I'm pretty sure all of the paintings are devs. Could be wrong, but it's what I would do if I were to design a game. This is some backrooms ceiling right there. I think there is occasionally a room with a death pit, even on lower quota. Could be wrong, but this map is nice and spacious. The valuables are both high value and easy to carry for their value, as well as dense. They're also the most fun valuables in the game, kind of rivaling the station, but I would say these are the best. They're definitely the most interesting. So that's another few points. Yeah, see? Fun potion. It knows. Spacious hallways, huge doors to carry things through, lots of hiding places that are not super vulnerable to downward attacks. So this map, I'm pretty sure it's most people's favorite for a reason. Oh, you can also use the cauldrons by standing at the opposite side of the direction you want to go to blast yourself up and look and see if there's any loot. If you aim it better, you can get up there. There's stuff up there sometimes. Alright, now for High Quota Station. The maps change a lot as you get higher in the quotas, and the tiles will shift. So they become far more infested with death pits, to the point where it's more surprising to see a room without one. So here's the classic big tree-looking death pit room. You'll see this one a lot. This map, specifically, has some very dangerous death pits. You'll see this tile as well. You do have to parkour up by going up here, jumping up here. There's usually a lot of stuff. There's sometimes a functioning TV you can jump scare bait people with, which will knock them off the edge. So it's good to goof your friends with that one. And some of the extracts on this level do have kind of suspicious pits of death liquid. But this one in particular is not that bad since it is a fairly straight shot. Here is the dreaded vent catwalk room, where you really hate seeing most enemies. As a hunter walking around these will blast you and knock you off. Even if you survive the shot, you'll die. If there's an upscream, you'll die. If there's bangers, you'll die. If there's a peeper, you will super die. There are many, many things that will cause you to just die in this room. What is that duck doing? And a yoinker, the shadow child, slender baby, that will yoink you. Super high danger. Just taking the cart through this room is a massive danger, because if you fall, and the cart dies, and your money bag dies, and your loot dies, it's pretty bad. Attrition death is a big thing in this game. I have never experienced it, but I also don't want to, and I'm fairly careful about that, because it would really suck to be in a situation where you're alive, but you're dead inside, and you cannot finish the run because you're out of cash. Hiding places still great. They still have all these rooms. Spacious rooms, big doors. Plenty of death pits, though. I've died to a trudge from somebody else aggroing it in a very similar layout to this. It'll just suck you into the pit, and you'll die. There are some rather suspicious blue goo rooms, but this is pretty easy in terms of high quota turn-ins. This is one of the easier rooms, I would say. This turn-in is also pretty easy. So this map does have, I would say the extracts on high quota are on the easy end. I think even in comparison to the other two maps, we'll see. I'll hit those up and we'll try to make a decision here on which of these are the best. High quota Swift Broom Academy. This map is probably people's favorite, even on high quota, as all of the previous benefits still apply. It's just the map is a little larger. There are more death pits, but they're not that bad. You can often use doors to cover them as well. Not like that, but you get the idea. I like to put little safety doors on these to just make it so you don't accidentally walk in them. It does mean enemies won't be able to be dunked in them, but, risk reward, pros, cons, etc. This map doesn't have a wild amount of death pits. It does have this one. What you can do is rip doors off. I did this to my friend once. You can rip doors off and just put them here and make them look like doors, and it'll encourage someone to walk up and try to open them. I didn't have them fall in, but it is a thing you can do. Now, the lava death pit extracts are kind of suspicious just because it's such a short amount of time that if you fall in, even if you have 6 double jumps or whatever you might expect to have at high quota, you won't be able to jump out because you'll be dead. So some of these are very, very suspicious to turn in on. Not as bad as some of the other maps with the very precarious turn-ins. The death pits really just aren't that bad on this map overall. They're pretty reasonable. And you do kind of need death pits to swiftly kill enemies. So you do want death pits, just not like ones that constantly make you horrified and risk death. Like, even though this is a big one, there's still plenty of walkway around the room. You can almost kill yourself like that. I have killed myself like that before. I think it was a room like this, where I jumped across a lava pit. Pretty much... No, it was on Headman Manor, but it looked a lot like this. I just jumped across like this, hit a door, just bumped right into the pit. So, huge risk if you have too much speed. The doors are just hurt fields for some reason. This is a bit of a sus turn-in. I don't like going up these steep stairs. This one's not that risky, though, overall, I would say. The turn-ins on Swift Broom, even at high quota, fairly reasonable. I would say overall, this is a nice map. I think someone would always be happy getting it, regardless of the quota. So this is probably the best map on low and high quota. I don't know where I would rate high quota versus low quota. I don't know if it's fair to directly compare them, as it's kind of a gradient, right? Because as you go up in the quota, you will experience more and more of these tiles, but they will eventually reach a point where the saturation of them stops, and it's just a constant expectation of suspicious death pits. Headman Manor. High quota. The death pits on this map are pretty suspicious. This one is a little precarious. The doors are extremely dangerous. I often see people with the cart just sprint out here and just kill someone straight up. Like, they just sprint out here, knocks whoever's standing out here into the pit, and they die. Super common on this map. The death pits are pretty brutal. The doorways are still tiny, so getting props around, valuables around, is still super annoying. There's lots of narrow staircases that you have to bring things up, like these big vases. Like, it's just effort, you know? Like, a lot of effort compared to the other maps. Like, that could have easily killed me, that little jump, if I went just a little forward and hit that door. Would have rebounded in the pit and died. They have this map, or this tile within the map. This is pretty good for hiding. This is probably like one of the strongest hiding places in the game, because nothing can get you under these except like gnomes and bangers. So yeah, nice hiding spot. You do have to parkour up here, which is possible. Usually someone will stand here and lift a teammate up there, and then once they're up here, you can jump across easily, even with little movement, and then climb this ramp bed. You can just walk up this for some reason. There's sometimes stuff up here, sometimes big stuff, valuable stuff. There's also stuff up here. Don't like that radio. Very, very suspicious to get it, though. So I hope you have range. This is kind of suspicious, but not that bad, really. People can die in this room, but it's almost difficult. Just one of the spots where you do need to check up, see if there's anything there. There often is, was not this time. What the? Frog Tower. This is a lot of people's least favorite turn-in, as making the cart go over this is really dangerous. So this is probably one of the worst extracts around. And it is one of the features of high quota Headman Manor. Oh, this room is also awful, because these stairs are massive, and it takes so long to climb up these without a million speed like I have, that I just see this and I'm just like, ugh, and I just walk away. But it's, yeah. If an enemy gets up here, they will meteor slam off, by the way, and just appear at the bottom suddenly. So you gotta watch out for that. I don't know exactly where they have to be up there, but I have seen enemies just slam down here. Now, the overall size of the hallways in the rooms isn't much bigger than the original, but it is a little better. These hiding places still suck. Lots of suspicious large props around death pits. This extract is not that bad, but it's a little sus. I think this was the one I actually died at. Yeah. Just sprint right across, hit that door, into the pit, which is very unfortunate. If I had to say a positive about this map, it's that the death pit frequency isn't quite as insane as High Quota Station, even though some of them are more annoying than High Quota Station. The vent catwalks of Station is probably the worst tile, but that big room over there with the tiny clearance around it is also super, super dangerous to carry anything in. It's dangerous if there's enemies here because you will easily get knocked against a wall and then into the pit. Carts are a massive, massive risk in here because if your teammates go a little too fast and bump you, you're probably dead. That's it. Thanks for watching. Check out all my other videos. I have plenty, lots of guides, and other stuff.